Um, Today I'm gonna share kind of piece of my life story, how that happened to me a year ago when I switched from working as a team leader in a company called Artec 3D here in Luxembourg to the global automation company called Workato, and I find very I find a lot of details which are worth to mention. Like, firstly, what I saw. I saw, like, it was a completely different experience to me because in Artec 3D I was working in my office. Actually, this piece I miss a lot because I like to work with people, I like to see the eyes, I like to communicate verbally, but currently I work from home, which is kind of unusual for an enterprise, but it is what it is. We have some offices. We have offices in California, in Barcelona, in India, in Ireland, but we don't have office in Luxembourg, unfortunately. So my role has changed from a team leader to a software developer. I will share more about it a little bit later. And the environment has changed to me a lot. Previously, the company I worked in was around 200 people. Currently, it's more than 1,000. Previously, my team had 5 Ruby developers, and currently I'm surrounded by 150 Ruby developers. I'm speaking about Ruby because Ruby is my primary programming language, and I really enjoy that. And the total engineering side. Besides previous company, Artec 3D is also quite high-tech company, and it had around 100 engineers on place. But currently, I have engineering more than 250 people across all the departments, which also makes a big difference. Speaking about changing my role, why I decided to switch from team leader to software engineer. When I was about to look for a new job, I thought, like, okay, can I remind myself the time I was the most happy? And it turned out that the most happy I was when I did a lot of coding. I still was a software team leader, but when I was able to do most of the coding, I was super happy. So I decided that it's worth to try. What was different when I switched to a new company, to a bigger company? First of all, there was a huge difference in onboarding process. My previous experience, actually I don't remember how my onboarding was, because at the time, 15 years ago, the company size was roughly 50 people, and probably it was like, hey Anna, sign the document and like, here you could do. But currently, I will compare it not to my personal experience, but to my experience as a leader who was onboarded and other members of my team. So for me it was different because what I did. In my previous company, we signed the documents, we got all the accesses. For sure, there was a call with introduction to a team. For sure, there was some understanding of the product. But what I faced when I joined a huge company, first of all, it was how deeply thought the onboarding process was. During the first 2 weeks, I had my onboarding assignment. It included some obligatory trainings I should pass, but also it included, in a gamified format, the task to set up my local environment, to write my code. And since it was not a passing by task that everyone should do, but an assignment, I was super, so I did my best to do it in a better way. Then another piece of assignment was to use the product I just locally set up as our clients do. And I think it's also really important because each employee, each developer should know the product, even if they do not use it on daily basis, even if they write only their small pieces of code. Anyways, they have to know what are the customers, what do their customers, and what the customers are ready to pay for. Yeah. Also, there was a buddy who was assigned to me. Actually, it was not buddy but girly, and she was helping me with any questions I have during my onboarding time. And I had sessions with my HR who was controlling the overall process, my impression, my feelings, giving me feedback, so on. And I think those first steps when a person enters a company, they are very important. And since I didn't have another experience, I couldn't give such experience to my employees who was coming to me as a team leader. But currently, I'm pretty sure I encourage everyone who is involved in hiring process to become wide-minded, talk to people, talk to others, and try to understand how exactly can be improved the first steps as a person gets through in your company. Right. Also, what I faced, the processes were completely different to me. And I was thinking, oh yeah, okay, right now I'm going to join an enterprise, and what will I see? Actually, what I saw is the difference in meetings. In my previous company, I was involved in 1 million of meetings with 1 million of people happening more than half of my workday. But currently what I see is 15 minutes daily calls and once a week a call with PMs. And you know what? I'm super happy about that. I'm super happy that I can choose the time if I want to discuss something with someone. It is important that since I'm responsible for the piece of project I'm doing currently, it's my responsibility to choose people to communicate to and to drive the process, and this is important. It's not enough to put like 10 people in a room and expect that they will, I don't know, create a brilliant idea. I think there should be a driver. Also, what I faced and what I didn't have experienced before. In enterprise, as it usually happens in big companies, they have so clear split of responsibilities, and each project, each piece of each question is easily to address to. You can trace down to who should be responsible for this part of the job and who you can involve to make things done. Also, for me, it was such a nice exploration that they have a clear inter-team communication. Every time since the company held strategy remote first for a very long time, each time when I have to talk to someone, their first priority responsibility is to talk to me, to respond me, to unblock me, to be able, for me to be able to proceed with what I'm doing. And I provide the same. If someone contacts me, I try to unblock other people as fast as possible to make the process smooth. What I did when I joined the company, I had two pretty small assignments, and I faced, oh my god, what was different as well? It was a very strong and qualified code review process. I had to polish my pull requests 1 million of times, and by the end I was so upset and frustrated with that. So I said, okay, I need to I need to take it back. I need to take a step back to think about what else can I do, because currently I'm going to explode. And what happened, I decided to see what are my strong points and how I can impact the company. It turned out that my particular department didn't have Grafana graphs displaying how our particular customers use our APIs. So I added those. Then I did some steps in analytics, and I understood that okay, we missed that piece since our partners are kind of different one from each other. We don't know patterns, how they integrate. And then I did my analytics to enable visualization of such integrations. So then I had two major projects. During last year I had one for one quarter and a half, and the last one for previous quarter. I thought like, yeah, code reviews. Sorry, I'm speaking too fast. Major projects. So I did two major projects. I'm not going to dive deeper into detail because I cannot explain my husband what are those, even if we speak about my work every day after work. But anyways, before starting those projects, what was completely different for me? I was out of the context of the company. I hadn't dealt before with integrations and automations, and that's why joining discussions was complicated to me, because I didn't understand the thing what they are talking about. So I had to learn a lot. Also, since it is an enterprise with on code level with one major project, which was evolving during 10 years, and 100 people contributed to that particular project on a daily basis, it has a really huge code base. So I thought, okay, since I'm facing that complications, I will do that I can do the best. I dig through the code, I did my analytics, my own analytics. I didn't rely on analytics other people have. And I built my own conclusion on how exactly should this particular feature be implemented. I took 1 month step back to research, and then it was like only a month of coding. We launched both of the projects without any major bugs. Personal initiatives. It is very important not just to do assignments. It is very important to think what is missing in particular setup, especially when you just join a company. Because when you are new, you are not used to the processes. Okay, we always do like that, and we will continue to do like that. No, you have a fresh eye, you are able to share your fresh experience or fresh view on the processes. And these contain two ideas behind. First one is to be able to speak openly since you are not biased yet. And the second one, to bring what is missing. So, as I said, my initiatives was Grafana dashboards. At some moment, I realized that we do not get, since we are web application, we do not get 500 errors, information about 500 errors to our error management system. And you know what? That's really bad, and we should have it. So I added those for our team and for another team. And since my last project was deeply involved to the 1 million scenarios how customer can be set up, I dealt with code not only from my department but across the company. So I was able to find unexpected behaviors, errors, different false assumptions stored in the code, and I contacted the people and asked them, is it really should be like that, or it's a way to improve the process. So, and the most interesting piece of my interesting piece for me to share what kind of conclusions I had. They are half soft skills, half hard skills related. First of all, it's important to understand the business. You may say, "Oh, hey Anna, I'm a developer in the company where 1,000 people work. Like, do I really need to understand the business?" I say yes, for sure you do. For sure you have to understand what exactly customers are paying for. Who are the customers? What kind of things they do with your application? And more importantly, you should understand how customers of your particular department differs from other customers, because your main focus will be not on like average customer or general customer, but customer of your department. And of course, it is important to trace it back to your impact, to what you exactly do to make them happy. Like your particular one of the 1,000 impact, it is important. Also, I'm strongly sure that cultural fit is important. During first months, during trial period, a person not only tries to hold the position and get stuck here and want to work in the company forever, but it is a reciprocal process. It's time to understand if you really fit the company. Not only you fit the company, but if company fits you. If you have this match, if you understand that you will be happy to hang out with these people, to work with these people for future years. And if not, it's better to try to find another job, because otherwise, since it is a reciprocal process, you both will be unhappy. Where we have a cultural fit impact, it is inside the team, when you communicate to the people with whom you are working on a daily basis. It is important to understand how communication is built between the teams, how communication is built from the teams to the managers, how decisions are taken. And also it is important to understand where is the line between you and the customers, between the company and the customers, between the managers and the customers. And since many companies are originally built by a small group of people, they are the companies itself, they shaped with the culture that owners have in mind. So you should just understand if the company fits you or not. Perspective. It is always important not to lose focus. It is always important to have in mind what kind of value system you have, what kind of knowledge base you particularly have, what makes you different from other people, what makes and what kind of knowledge may have another person you are communicating to. Because sometimes you may have one perspective and they may have another perspective, just because they know their piece of application better than you know. Also, keep in mind that goals could be different. Purely technically speaking, the goals of one person, one engineer, can be different compared to another one. One wants their customers to have quicker responses, and another one is focused more on reliability. So, just keep in mind that when you argue with someone you are not sure what kind of goal they have, so just ask. And of course, since we all are humans, we can be biased. We can be biased by perception of previous version of the application you saw some years ago and didn't fresh up your understanding of how this piece of software behaves. We can be biased by our by events happening in our life. So since we really can be biased, it's always easier to ask what stands behind the suggestion, what stands behind the solution, what stands behind the idea or proposal. I suggest to always ask why. Another thing, talk to people. It is important to understand with whom you're working on. It is important to share any technical things you faced. It is important to have a way to show them what you are doing and to get understanding of what they're working on right now, especially in the companies. It happens in enterprises that when several departments are working on kind of the same thing, trying to achieve kind of the same result, just because they do not communicate. Talk to people. If your company doesn't have kind of local meetups, doesn't have a way to introduce its own departments, create a channel, create a Slack channel or like another messenger you are using in the company, and ask if each company can introduce itself and share what they are working on right now. It's really important. From my personal experience, I suggest everyone to be transparent. I suggest everyone to share your thoughts, your ideas, your value system, to give other people the keys how to talk to you. For example, if I understand like visual graphs data better, I can ask, okay, show me the graphs. Like, or I can say, okay, I really need numbers. If I do not understand numbers and I'm more about like absorbing the impressions, then I would say, okay, I have complications in understanding numbers. Please, could you explain what's going on? So it's always about, it's again about motivation. I think it's better to understand what kind of things drives you and what kind of things drives your teammates to be able to build really strong bond with them. Share your goals, share what kind of things you want to achieve within the company, in personal life, within the particular project, or what kind of things you want others to do for you. It's okay to just ask, and sometimes you get a really nice response that they're already working on that, or they are doing even better things for you. And I suggest to share your personal things, because anyways we are humans who are standing behind, sitting behind the monitors, and we all have our interesting lives and completely different backgrounds. So I'm switching to the piece with technical suggestions. I strongly suggest everyone who is dealing with code to learn the tools. It could be broader, but my piece of advice is focused on particularly coding examples. For example, I strongly suggest to learn and understand how to use login tools. What kind of login tools are accepted in your company? How can you query those logs efficiently? How can you do it fast? During development of particular feature, how exactly can you, how will you extract the data later when you will debug it, if you need it? So think on, during each step of development, think about what kind of trace you leave behind you. Visualization tools. If you have some customers or you have some people who is doing something with your application, you should know what they do. And I strongly suggest to build a lot of graphs of behavior of users, a lot of graphs on API endpoints, throughput, the capacity load, the time of request, and so on. Like whatever can be measured should be measured. Alerting tools. It's always better if you know about the problem before your customer. Communication tools. Learn how to set up properly tools that are used in the company to communicate between people. If it's Gmail, if it's mail, if it's kind of tools for making calls, for example Zoom, if it is a messenger, for example Slack. Learn how to take the most of it, how to build a proper notifications, how to have those things integrated in your environment, and so on. For sure, it is important to learn coding tools. It is really important to know well your IDE, to know how to set up it well, how to know hotkeys, to use it, and so on. It is important to also set up debug tools, to know how to do it efficiently and have the better results. And documentation. Documentation is always important, and if your company has a culture of documenting things that are happening, it will help for you to build a bigger representation of what's happening inside the processes if you are used to write a lot of documentation. Strongly suggest. Alright, here I put some samples of tools that we use. It's Grafana, Kibana, Sentry, Zoom, Slack, RubyMine since I'm working with Ruby, Ruby Debugger, Conference, and Jira because we're working with Atlassian. Okay. Then I suggest to verify your assumptions, especially when you join a new company. You cannot have the full understanding of processes that are going on, and it's always easy to slip to the idea that you know it well because you've seen it in previous company. Actually, it's not always true, and I strongly suggest if you have some assumptions of what's happening, check it. Do your own analytics, check it with your login system, graph system, or whatever. Just try to verify. It's always important not just to say, "Oh, I have a gut feeling." It's important that you can verify your gut feeling with some numbers you can track. Nice quote. Particularly purely coding advice, do not trust naming. Do not really trust naming, because I think every developer may face something like that when in the name of the test it says that it should be actually true and the request should be successful. But in the code you can see that actually there is a check for internal server error. That's just an example. Do not trust naming. I strongly suggest to dive deeper and try to understand what's going on. I suggest to have an opinion. It is important when you are working on a particular feature, not only to do what you are said, but have your own understanding how should it be built, especially if you're dealing with uncertainties. For some people, it may be particularly complicated to bring a solution when they are not really clear if it should be like that or not, when they do not have 100% inputs. But in real life, we usually do not have all the information, so code like you live. I suggest to bring ideas. I suggest to do not be afraid of saying that it is important to have some things, it is important to do things differently. I strongly suggest to bring even crazy ideas, because until you verbalize it, nobody will know that nobody will know that some feature can be implemented in some way, or there is a place for additional improvements. And my personal suggestion, to find a mentor. And you may say, okay, Anna, we are senior engineers here, what kind of mentorship you are talking about? And I think in IT we have a biased culture of mentorship. And you know, when you think about mentorship, you think about the person who helped you during your first steps. But actually, that's not true. I think to have mentor, it is important on any stage of your development, but it should be a different mentor. It shouldn't be the same person who was teaching you how to write your first lines of code. If you are the owner of the company, the mentor could be another owner of another company who was working and dealing with the problems you have, but before. So, speaking about enterprise, if you're inside an enterprise, you can try to find a person who was working in the same department before or was doing kind of things before, who understands the whole overall processes in the company better, who had experience with different departments, and try to find the person who is not your boss. Because if the person is your boss, he is biased towards you doing what he planned you to do. So I think, like, my strong suggestion to find an independent person who is who do not really give an idea of your success, but who really wants you to, like, who can help. Also find things to what can you bring what things can be interesting for him to, hang out with you and share your thoughts. Why this mentor is important? Mentor may help with decision making. Mentor may help with side view on what you are doing or what you are thinking. You can verify ideas with him, and well, it can be just a nice person to talk to. Personally speaking, in spite of the fact that I have 15 years of software engineering career, I have a mentor. I find one, and yeah. So, understand the business, talk to people, know your customers, verify your assumptions, and read the code. Read the code and write documentation a lot. That's it from me.